Hey traders, so welcome back to the Sharks Trading Academy's weekly market analysis, and for today I'll do something different. Okay, I'll go through some of the post analysis that we had. So we actually took New Zealand dollar as well as the USDCHF coming on Thursdays and on Friday, which is yesterday, and we actually based our trades on the US dollar. So over here you can see on the US dollar we have this weekly supply zone, right? And as prices makes its way into this level, what we saw was this shift. Can you see that on the daily time frame? As prices taps into this supply, it broke out of structure over here. It made this strong sell side move that broke out of structure, which made me believe that we have a temporary sell side bias. And when prices makes its way into this level, what I was looking for would be a refined area. So can you see this is the literal last sell that liquidates everything here before the sell move? Okay, so this is the liquidation before the breakdown, and this left behind an unmitigated area on the 50% level. So what do I mean by that? So this is the supply zone. Use the Fibs, measure the entire order block, measure 50%. Okay, then what you do is to pull it to the right onto current prices, and you see where prices got mitigated over here. Okay, so you can see over here prices mitigates it, may have wicked a little, right, but gave us this sell side move, this strong sell side move that broke out of structure eventually here, okay, or even here. So now I am definitely sell side bias, right, and I'm waiting for prices to pull back. So the entire zone for the pullback is here. Right, can you see this entire move is the supply zone? Okay, and that is why when prices are hovering inside this level, I'm already ready to sell the dollar, which means to say that if I were to move into the USDCHF, you can see over here how we actually got through this idea. On the 4-hour time frame, we have prices breaking out of structure over here. Am I right? Break out of structure, leaving behind a supply zone that didn't get mitigated, comes back down into this area, right? And what we are looking for would be the lower time frame shift in structure, and inside of this level of supply, you can see over here we have this move, and you can actually label it as a Wyckoff as well. I didn't see this as a Wyckoff. What I was looking for would be a shift in structure, pull back for sells. So if you name it, it would be maybe a buying climax, automatic rally, or over here as well. Buying climax, automatic rally, your ST, UT, shift, break out of your automatic rally. This means that your schematic is now available for sells, right? This is now valid for sells. Prices pulls back, sell limit order, move down. So this is how we actually caught the trade. So for those who are in USDCHF together with us, you notice that actually prices come back to maneuver around here for a bit, right? We actually took the trade earlier, somewhere around here. So as soon as prices pulls back into this area, we got triggered already. So we actually had to went through this sideways movement before the breakdown. Okay, so moving on to the New Zealand dollar, that's how we actually use DXY to our bias as well, because we want to buy NZDUSD because USD is bearish, right? So now we have this area over here. Prices break out of structure, leaving behind a demand zone on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, move down to the 1-hour time frame. You can see we are looking for the shift in structure. So the truth is that the shift in structure happened here. This is the minor shift where you may have gotten into this trade over here. Can you see this break of structure? It's a minor break of structure, and your first target should be here, right? Maybe liquidity highs over here. So you could have gotten involved over here. Okay, so when prices breaks out of structure again over here, it left behind another demand zone, which is here, right? So you could have gotten involved here as well. But for us, I was looking for a major break of structure because I was targeting liquidity highs here, right? So this break of structure left behind a 4-hour demand zone, and this is where I actually place a buy limit order. So you can see I actually refined this area, but it didn't hold, right? You can see over here on the 5-minute time frame, this area over here is a refined zone, and this is where I placed my buy limit, which got smashed through. But I understand that the entire zone is valid for buys, right? And this is how I actually place my stop loss beneath this level. and looking to target liquidity highs over here. But because we were approaching the weekends, just this morning, you could say it was this morning about 3 a.m, right? When prices breaks this level, I took all my positions, right? I closed all my positions around here. So one is to trade, and you can see over here, I place a buy limit at this level. And when prices starts to break out, I understand that we are going higher, right? So I was looking for a pullback in between around here, or maybe towards here as well, when prices breaks down, right, to catch a secondary move, but it didn't happen. So we just ride this move all the way up, looking to target liquidity highs over here. But when prices breaks this area over here, then this is where I took my profit and closed out on the New Zealand dollar. So the first pair that I would like to talk about would be the New Zealand dollar. So over here, you understand that we are still targeting liquidity highs over here. And this supply should give us a bounce for prices to move higher, because this supply over here didn't break out of major structure over here. And this is why we believe that this supply will not hold. All right. And now, where are we looking to buy? Because if you want to be a buyer, you want to buy at lower prices. So do you want to be a buyer here? So you wouldn't want to be a buyer here, right? Because first of all, your risk to reward isn't favorable. And second, you're buying at a very high price. And how do we define whether this is a high price or a low price? You take the entire swing structure over here, right? Higher prices are over here. This is the equilibrium, and this is the low prices. And we always want to get involved over here, okay? And the truth is, if prices turns from here, then I'll not get involved in this trade. And this trade probably happen on the lower time frame for continuations. All right. So now, where am I looking to buy? I'm looking to buy at lower prices over here. Can you see that this is a demand zone that caused the breakout of structure over here and was left unmitigated? So with this break of structure over here on the lower time frame, I believe that prices are likely to head down, okay, into ultimately this level to accumulate before moving prices higher to our eventual targets. So this is where I'll get involved in New Zealand dollar. Okay, look for the confirmations that happen over here, and as soon as you see a break of structure on the lower time frame, you can take this trade higher. The next pair would be Bitcoin, and you can see currently we smashed through these highs, right, and leaving behind two demand zones to get involved. So if prices makes its way back into this level, you could look for confirmations for buys. Otherwise, wait for deeper areas over here to look for buys. Okay, so for those traders who have caught this move here, you can see this demand zone over here made the rally. So if you have been a buyer over here, then congratulations. And now look to take profits already over here, right? And now over here, you can look to take more profits, but ultimately get involved again inside of here. These two are the major areas. And if prices makes its way all the way down into these areas, you could be a buyer as well. But in this case, you would be looking to target supply zones along the way down, right? All of these would be liquidity highs if you're to buy over here. So you do not immediately aim for higher highs or ultimate liquidity highs. You aim for these intermediary highs, right, to take profits. So next up, we have the Aussie yen. And you can see currently prices broke out of structure over here, leaving behind a 4-hour demand zone, okay, over here. Or this could be a 1 hour as well. So look for a structural shift. And where is the structural shift? You can see that prices are already mitigating the last portion of this entire demand zone. So wait for the shift in structure over here. So what I'm going to see would be a strong impulse that breaks this level, giving us this range to play with, okay? Then look for a pullback into demand areas inside of here to get involved with trades like this, okay? Otherwise, expect prices to break down. Okay, so let's remove all of this, and with this demand zone, assuming that it doesn't hold, right, prices comes back down, mitigate this inside bar over here, then breaks down, right? Then look for the accumulation inside of here. Then a shift, tapping into this demand zone, then a shift in structure over here, breaking out of these levels, giving us a pullback onto demand areas or unmitigated areas to get involved. And making sure that your first target would definitely be liquidity highs over here, and look for higher areas to get involved, right? Over here and here. So this would be the trade idea for Aussie yen. Next up, we have the Euro AUD. You can see we have a 4-hour supply zone here, right? And now liquidating these highs. So this is the liquidity highs that got mitigated, right? And now we are looking for a break of structure. And where is the break of structure? So it depends, right? If prices now breaks this level from here, then we can use this as our pivot point. Then look for supply zones to target the first areas over here and demand zones here, okay? However, if prices decides to make another run higher from here, liquidating trend lines as well as highs, then look for the break of structure by means of these levels or these levels. Look for supply zones, then sell off. Over here, we have a very similar trade idea, and this would be the Euro New Zealand, right? This is a 4-hour supply zone. Okay, so 4-hour supply zone broke out of structure over here, and this serves as liquidity highs. Okay, so this liquidity high has been grabbed and now tap into our supply zone. So what we're looking for? We are looking for a shift in structure. And if prices decides to break down from here, then this could have been our shift that we are looking for. Look for supply zones that has been created along the way, maybe over here, higher areas, or maybe here, right? So look for the shift. Look for unmitigated areas to get involved and target liquidity lows over here. So the truth is that if this entire swing is the breakdown, then your first target will be here, right? So the higher the pullback, the better it is. Next up, we have the pound CAD, and you can see over here we already have a supply zone that has been mitigated currently, and this probably gave us a shift already. So you can see this is the break of structure, leaving behind supply zones to get involved. Liquidity lows would be this area, but in this case, you can see we have a sell to buy move by means of this level. You can see over here, sell liquidates all of this level to buy. So our target would be demand zones inside of here. Okay, so instead of looking at liquidity lows, we'll be aiming here. So now prices give us a break of structure. Why? Because you can see highs, 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 breakdown. So for those who are trading retail logic, you can see this is a rising wedge that broke down. So traders are trying to get involved onto the pullback of the trend line, okay? Or maybe they have already gotten involved over here via the sell stops and maybe market order over here. As for traders who do Wyckoff, this is your buying climax, automatic rally, ST, maybe STMB, or UT, right? UT, UTED, shift, right? Looking for supply zones to get involved for sales. Otherwise, if you are just a very clean structural trader, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, right? And now make your first lower low, okay? Breakout of structure. And you are looking for a pullback onto lower areas, maybe again over here. This is the first zone. And maybe the second zone will be your inside bar over here. So both of these levels are valid for sales. So this is the ultimate level that we are looking for, and we'll see how it goes on Monday's market opening. Next up, we have the euro dollar, and currently we have a demand zone over here. So drop down to the lower time frame, and you're actually looking for a shift in structure that will bring us all the way towards liquidity highs inside of here, 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 and ultimately here, right? And what is the most obvious shift in structure that you want to see? You want to see prices maybe moving like this, a break of structure, pulls back. Then with this move, you understand that we have a high tendency that prices wants to run liquidity highs over here, right? And this will take a while. However, if you are interested to participate this on the lower time frame with targets over here, because you understand that we are still in a bearish order flow on this time frame, which means to say that there are sellers looking to sell here, okay? And where are traders trying to sell from? You can see that on the 1 hour time frame, we have this move over here, this breakout of structure, this buy to sell move that broke here, right? Leaving behind supply zones that are left unmitigated. And this is our first target. okay, because we know that sellers are waiting here to sell lower. Okay, ultimately breaking your weekly demand zone, because there is nothing that tells you that the weekly demand zone is going to hold right now. And we do not know that. Until prices breaks this level, then we know that this demand zone actually held and we are going to move higher, right? And that's why how to participate in this market. So on the 4-hour time frame, you can see that the shift already happened. So this is a minor break of structure, likely to leave behind areas to buy from. And where are you looking to buy from? So remember what I talked about. We do not want to buy here, right? We are looking for areas beneath the liquidity lows over here, right? Beneath the equilibrium. And this left behind a demand zone. So we are looking for a pullback into this area, potentially accumulating, and see a shift in structure on the lower time frame to push prices higher. Ultimately liquidating your first area. Okay, assuming this is the high before the pullback, this would be your first target. The second would be here, your supply zone. Okay, and you can see this would be used as liquidity highs, right? So this would be the liquidation area. And for retail traders that are trying to get involved in perhaps some sort of area over here, right? Because this is a resistance turn support turn resistance, right? So prices respected this area. We are likely to see a small bounce before liquidating them again, tapping into these areas. And what will they do in this case? They will look to buy here, right? Failing to realize that they are actually tapping into a supply zone on the 1-hour time frame, and they will get caught over here for sells. Once again, liquidating their stop loss positions. And this is how we are looking to tackle euro dollar. Next up, we have the pound dollar, and over here we have a demand zone that broke out of structure over here, right? So we have a BOS over here. And can you see this move is so strong? We have a strong sell side move that liquidates areas inside of here, right? Then a shift in structure that breaks this level, leaving behind a demand zone over here. So the only problem for me is that this demand zone happens in the center, right? If this pullback goes lower into areas over here, I'll be very willing to take this buy, all right? But however, we are going to trade what we see. So on the lower time frame, for those who are looking for intermediary areas to get involved, you may have been caught on the wrong side over here. This is the break of structure, right? A minor break of structure over here, leaving behind demand zones for you to get involved. And if you were to place a buy limit here with stop loss beneath this level, aiming for areas over here, then you would have lost this trade, right? Otherwise, if you have placed your sell or your stop loss beneath the demand zone, then you are still currently in the trade. Otherwise, if you were to look lower time frame into these areas to confirm this demand zone, then you wouldn't have got involved because you do not see any shift in structure over here, right? This bullish candle does not mean anything. Okay, if we see a move like this, then the shift, then you are valid for buys. So it depends on how you're actually managing this trade ultimately. So the major BOS would be here, right? So if prices were to break this area, give you a pullback, I think this would be a better entry, right? But again, this is on hindsight. Okay, so it depends on you. If you are willing to take this minor break of structure, then go for it. So now prices makes a deeper mitigation. So this is the last low that we are looking for, right? This is the last demand zone. So what would we need? We need prices to make a structural shift over here. So what you want to see is a break of structure over here. Maybe prices move back, breaks this level, comes back down into this demand zone before moving higher. So this is the trade idea that I'm looking for, right? So if prices comes back to make a new high over here, we know that this is the major break of structure, leaving behind a demand zone to get involved. Then wait for accumulation or a shift on the lower time frame to get involved into higher prices. So where are we targeting? Liquidity highs here. If this happens, this is the liquidity high. Then over here, here, here. And ultimately, this 8-hour supply left behind over here. Because this breakdown move over here, broke out of structure, leaving behind unmitigated supply zones. So over here, as prices makes its way up, we can expect distribution inside of here. Whether or not it takes us to lower prices is another story on its own. We want to see what happened here. Okay, if we see a strong move up into these areas, then this distribution may be a mitigation of this demand zone to accumulate to go higher, right? This is another way we can actually get involved, or this is our bias in the market. Otherwise, expect accumulation here to move into supply zones here to distribute lower into these areas. So all of these are possibilities as well as your bias in the market. But unless you get the confirmations inside of here, 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 or here, then your bias don't mean anything because you do not have any execution or entry areas, right? Lastly, we have gold, and over here you can see this rally was created by this daily demand zone. So it mitigated perfectly towards the last areas. And this, in fact, created a trendline liquidity or equal lows in the form of these areas. So we understand that there are tons of liquidity lying beneath these areas, which makes prices want to be drawn towards this area ultimately, right? And how do prices want to move towards this area? Do we move up from here immediately? No, we look for supply zones to get involved for sales. Okay, and where can it be? So you can see that over here we have a trendline liquidity and relatively equal highs as well. So this makes me believe that prices wants to make a move like this before dropping down. Okay, so if you want to be a seller, we want to sell high, and we understand that this is a liquidity pool, right? And prices wants to in fact move towards this area. So now if we see a pullback into any areas over here, we can look for buys to liquidate these areas, tap into this supply zone to distribute lower, ultimately clearing these levels. Okay, so we are looking for a buy to sell structure by means of this trend line and liquidity lows over here. Okay, so now where to get involved? For me, on the 5-minute time frame, we have a breakout structure over here, leaving behind a refined area on the 5 minutes over here. So I may just place a buy limit order over here. Okay, so as long as we do not reach highs over here, I'm going to put a buy limit here, stop loss beneath this level maybe, and aim for highs. Okay, to liquidate all of these positions. So on the daily time frame, you can just look for this move over here or even here. Okay, like this for 1:3. So this is possible. Otherwise, wait for confirmations at these levels and ultimately understand that we are looking for liquidation of these levels, tapping into this area over here, this supply zone, before distributing. So the truth is that prices may look for distribution to go lower, and this does not guarantee a break because we do have a lot of orders beneath this level, but this does not mean that we are going to see a shift from here. We may actually move into these areas over here to shift before going lower. This is possible as well, and that is why you can have a bias, but unless you get the confirmations, then you can say that your bias is right and actually execute them according to whatever that you're projecting.